Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United with me, Nathan Oakley. Joining me shortly will be Gary John, the organiser of the UK Convention 2018. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with new videos from Nathan Oakley 1980. To start us off on this behind the scenes OBS stream, I will play out a little bit of the Hoary Sheet Show, who recently did a plug for the UK conference.
Have you heard about the upcoming Flat Earth Conference happening in the UK? It's set to take place April 27th to the 29th of 2018. In just 8 weeks, this grassroots organized event went from only a loose idea to an incredible 3-day event that everyone is sure to enjoy. Now let me explain what we're doing. We've launched a website that's split into 4 different areas. One of the areas will display the ticket pricing, and we hope that it will suit most pockets and allow more people to find a good timetable to attend the parts of the event that they would enjoy most. Another area of the website will explain the event itself and how it's split into 3 different programs. For example, on Friday, we'll be having a fairly fluid evening just to sort of get everyone warmed up. Saturday is really the centerpiece, and it's dedicated to the main speakers of the event to give them a chance to present their latest ideas and the current projects they're working on. Also, there will be an opportunity to extend the discussion to the audience with a Q&A section. And finally, the Sunday portion of the event will be dedicated to a debate between the speakers covering one or more topics, and each will have a chance to talk about the flat earth model that they are leaning most towards, and vice versa. The website will also help everyone get acquainted with what accommodation options there will be, alongside other useful information. And we will be hosting a private Facebook page for attendees to join and really stay up to date on everything pertaining to the event from one official and easily accessible source. It'll also be a great way to break the ice with folks before the event starts. After all, we'll be fairly close to each other during the event, so this will be a great way to start getting to know some people before you're actually there, especially if you're traveling quite a ways anyway. And look, just so you know, this wasn't all set up to simply put on a 3-day event. Not at all. This actually grew into something much more than we imagined, and it truly has the potential to provide more local links and a legacy for the future. For more information about this event that we're now calling the FEC UK 2018, just visit www.flatearthconferenceuk.co.uk. We hope to see you there.
Good stuff. So this stream will serve as like a rolling advert for the actual stream, which will start as soon as we are joined, hopefully quite shortly, by Gary John. So what I'm going to do now is go to the stream and say hello to a few of the people who are watching now. So Be Here and Love, good to see you. Non-Swerve Aim, I think that's right. Good to see you. Qualu Charlie, regular, good to see you. That's, we've got Jonathan Roberts. Hello. How are you? Good to see you all. What I'm sticking in the chat now is a link to both the OBS stream and the chat for the Google Plus stream, which will start as soon as we get Gary here. So there may be some dead air in these behind the scenes broadcasts before we get our guest, but it, as I say, serves as an opportunity for me to advertise the fact that we will have a show coming up in about maybe half an hour, quarter of an hour, depending on how long Gary takes to get here. Set up all my feed, make it all look pretty. Preparation for Gary. I've shared the link with Gary, so hopefully with a bit of luck he will have received that already. The keyboard. Google picture nice and big. That looks on OBS. Not bad, not bad. So let's see if I can get my camera working on there. Yes, excellent. Out. Cool, all working wonderfully. Can I get my webcam and the chat up? Let's see if I can do that. Excuse me. Bit of a mess. That looks not too bad. And we've got Gary. How you doing, Gary?
Oh, I mean,
Perfect timing.
Sorry, it's taking so long.
All right, we're I should give you this explanation straight away. So we are going out live to a limited audience on OBS, and this is like the behind the scenes bit, so we don't have to talk conference or convention, I should say, just yet. And when we actually start, I'll give you a proper introduction and all the rest of it. Did you see Hori Sheet's ad?
What, the one that at the convention?
Yeah, really slick. I played it.
Yeah,
I played it just.
I was. Oh, that's cool. No, we actually worked on that about 6 weeks ago, but that was when it was still a conference, and then it was too much work to change it. So we just left it. So it's been waiting to be released on the website.
Right. I didn't notice. I was paying attention to the things when it played through, I must admit. So did he refer to it as the conference?
Yes. Because at the time when we first put it together, that's what it was. And then it became a convention. In talking to Darren Nesbitt and a few others, because the actual whole event had evolved, it was actually more a convention than a conference, but it worked for him to actually do something with it.
I see.
Change.
Cool. Let's just see if everything's running, and I'm going to share this. Done it already. I might have shared the link for Facebook. I'm just going to go back to my photos just while I do a couple of bits and bobs. Make sure that the actual show that we do have will actually get shared, rather than just this OBS bit. So if you can just give me a minute to do that.
And if you're instead, I can give you a little bit of an update reference to the European one. If you want to ask me about it within the conversation, it's up to you. If you want to ask.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I
will segue my way into the European
but it's just a little bit, just to promote it, really.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so let's just share the link on Facebook, and then.
And for once, you can't catch me out about the website. You know, when you asked me before, I went, so I've actually got it all written out. So if you ask me anything, I should hopefully have the answer.
Cool. Share this on Facebook. Sharing a link to the main actual show. Art. I think we're good. Just one last thing.
Just so you,
again. If you can talk, I'll just level you up.
Making a profit.
Say again.
I've been attacked again by a few people in Flat Earth.
Oh, is that so? Oh, we'll get to that as well then.
I'm clearly making a profit. And yeah, okay.
It's all for profit according to your detractors, is it?
Yeah,
don't see any problem
and I
with
can't clearly be doing it for anything.
We'll definitely cover that as well. Right, are you all set? You comfy? Because if you are,
all good.
I'll get started.
Go for it whenever you're ready. Right. And thanks so much for the time, by the way. It was awkward before 11.
No, it's all right. I finish at 10 o'clock anyway for work, so it was handy that you're free at a similar time. That's quite good, actually. Right.
Cool. That's great.
Get everything up. Right, let's put OBS back onto me and you. And then if you want to pop yourself on mute just for a couple of seconds, I'll start and give you a proper introduction. Gary John, okay, is what I call you? Or your official... Is that cool by you?
Well, that's my Facebook name.
That's probably the best name, I think, because that's how people would find you, isn't it? So, Gary John.
Yeah. I agree.
Right. Okay, I'll pop the camera over to me and then I'll give you a proper introduction. So I'm just going to say good evening, welcome to Flat Earth UK. And then joining me this evening is Gary John, organiser of the UK Convention 2018. And then I'll say thanks for being here, etc. So we'll start in about 10 seconds. If you can just keep quiet just for the next 20 seconds or so. Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. Joining me this evening is Gary John, organiser of the Flat Earth UK Convention 2018. How you doing, Gary?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So we've done one show from the bare bones idea of the convention, which has changed name from conference to convention as it's grown. Maybe we'll get to that a bit later. But yeah, it's gone from, like I say, bare bones to pretty much, well, you take it from there. You tell me where it's at. Give us an update.
Well, as you probably recall, that last, what was it, week and a half ago, I think it was, the actual website, no, almost 2 weeks ago, the website was released officially in all its glory. And obviously it's detailing the speakers, the print, all the contact details and obviously tickets and all the options that go with that. So it's all out there now.
So what's the website called? Or what's the address?
I'm going to read it to make sure I don't get it wrong. It's www.flatearthconvention.uk, and there's the logo as well. Which I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah, that came out quite well. No problem. Your resolution's a bit low, but to be honest, on the behind the scenes feed, so this show runs concurrently with an OBS feed, which if you were watching that, you'd know that anyway. But yeah, on that I played out the Hoary Sheet Show's advertising for the UK convention, as it was labelled. No, it was called the conference, wasn't it? Let me just get it right. It was going back a little bit. So yeah, the UK conference, which is now called the convention. But it was a very slick advert that Hoary did, details of what you exactly needed to know and what it was about. But can you tell us what exactly is a Flat Earth convention and what can people expect?
Obviously, this is all to do with interpretation of a conference to a convention. But just to give you the difference between the two, in my opinion, as a conference is where people, flat earthers or whoever are spoken to a given length of time, which in this case is 2.5 days, whereas a convention is where it's more interactive, because we obviously got the and we've got the area Friday evening where people can talk about experiments they've carried out or they will be carrying out, or they'd like to brainstorm. A question and answer section on the Saturday. That then makes it more interactive than just literally just going to listen to a conference. So, in talking to Darren Nesbitt and a few other people, it was concluded that in reality it's evolved into a convention. So at the 11th hour, it was changed. And obviously the show that you mentioned, and you did a great job. He'd already done so much work. Had been, just a lot of work just for the sake of one name. So we decided to leave it because of need. Be needed would just literally wasn't worth it.
Fair enough. So can you tell us who's going to be in attendance?
Okay, I'll do it by country because it's a lot easier for me to remember. In the United States, we've got Mark Sargent and John de Morgar. In Spain, we have Oliver Ibanez Ludlow. In Holland, we've got Mike Kavanagh. Some great work lately. I don't know if you've seen some of his videos he's putting out. In the UK, we have from the north, we have Darren Nesbitt. In the Midlands, we have Sean Connors and Dave Marsh. Allegedly, Dave down in Sussex. In South Wales, we've got Martin Leakey. And I have now decided, I don't know if I said this to you last time when we spoke, I don't think I was, but I have actually now decided that I'm going to speak as well. I'm actually working on a survey that I think is actually Flat Earth that I would like to present to people. It's a work in progress. It's still like, I'm 1 month or 2 months into a 9-month program that I would like to release the results. But I'm not actually saying too much about what I want it to be a little bit of a surprise what the results are.
Okay, I'm intrigued now because Martin and I, Martin Leitke, were discussing what he described as you flat smacking people on the street, and it might be that you weren't flat smacking people; you were actually surveying them. Am I right?
Yes, yeah, hint. Yeah, you're very close to the mark there.
Ah, so people at the UK 2018.
But it's the content. It's the actual.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Sorry, could you say that again?
I was just going to say at the UK 2018 conference, people will get the actual information from that survey from you, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh,
that's right. I'm asking particular questions, and I want to, depending on the results, will dictate how it's presented.
Okay, that's kind of robbed me slightly of a line of questioning that I was going to go along, which was about your quote-unquote flat smacking. I don't know, can you tell us limited information about what you've been doing? Probably not, no, you said that.
God. It's not a big secret, but I just feel that if I can release the results, and I'd like to think it's unique, what I'm asking people. But it's not just asking, they're not that special. It's the analysis that is the important part, I think. To say, because I either say it or I don't, and I don't know if there's any happy ground, happy medium, really. And again, it's not a big deal. It's not like everyone's going to be shocked at my information. It's just the fact that I don't think what I'm doing, especially with Flat Earth.
Right.
They've obviously doing, but not to do with Flat Earth. I'm aware of. I've never seen anyone ever report what I'm going to report.
Very intriguing.
So I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No,
I think
vagueness
Patricia
is cool.
Steer said the same thing. I think Karen as well. So,
so maybe I can ask you a slightly different question then. So on a personal level, how have you got on talking about Flat Earth with people in general? There you go.
It's been very interesting. I've had some unusual responses and some really good responses. But I have no problem with talking to anyone about anything, really. So from a physical point of view, actually doing it, it's easy. And I've actually recruited through our mixer in Cardiff, spoke to about it. And he's only one of the few people in the world who know about what I'm doing, and he's actually helping. So I can't, because you didn't ask him.
But it is members of the general public that you've been
he's
talking
doing
to, though, right?
Yeah, it's literally just random people that have been asked certain questions, and I'm then going to collate the data
and stuff. So throughout the 3-day event, from what you told me last time, that it was sort of loosely organised around having a more laid-back day on the Friday and then a more sort of structured day on the Saturday and Sunday. Is that pretty much stayed exactly as is?
Yes, I'm not too sure. I can't remember exactly what you and I discussed last time, reference to Sunday, but did I say to you that I would like it to be, and in talking to the speakers, it looks like it's going this way, that it's going to be a debate about the model and other things. It can be other subjects as well, but the main subject I would like to be debated is the model that the particular speaker actually supports. Because as you know, there's different people that think there's a pizza map or the round, the square map, or is it concave, is it a hollow earth? There's so many different versions that I just think it's probably about time that maybe a debate was carried out. So I've asked the speakers if they would be interested in having a debate, and I wouldn't say they jumped on it, but I think that's kind of would sum it up, that they're all willing to do their thing. So the way I think I have to do it, and I think I have to be quite strong on this, is that each speaker has so long their point, and then the other speakers then get a chance to do theirs, and then there will be the rebuttals. And it may be that each individual speaker wants to do it alone, or they may want to do it in a group, a certain model. Do they do it as a collective? And that's something to still be sorted out.
That's definitely new, very controversial. I like it. Very exciting. I'm sure it won't be confrontational though.
Yeah, I think it. One thing I will say to you though, Nathan, is that I deliberately have gone for the Sunday, because that way, if it was was on the Saturday and it was all out war, then the Sunday may not happen. So let's get the Saturday out of the way. Let's do the presentation and question and answer section. That's clean, and then the Sunday could be whatever.
Dirty.
So in effect, what you have is Friday. Friday is going to be a fluid. If we find that the open mic session ends up taking up most of the evening because it was really popular, then I'm not going to stop that. But then we just cut back a little bit on the speakers and also the experiments. If the experiments seem to dominate, then obviously it's a fluid type of evening, and I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I think it is, but we'll soon find out. But the Saturday is the more formal, do their presenting, but I don't want them to present if they get 40 minutes each, I don't want them to present for 40 minutes, because that's no different to people just going to YouTube and just listening to a speaker. I think the interactive question or questions and open up a debate within their subject matter is the type of thing that I'm interested in. And it's not just me. I've also got feedback from a lot of people when I did my initial research about doing all of this. And the Sunday was going to be a backup to the Saturday, but it's now evolved into a debate. And I don't actually see any reason why also people in the audience can't get involved in that as well. It doesn't have to be just the speakers, but predominantly that's the plan.
Wow, I think it sounds very cool. I mean, I think it's a win-win, because universally, even the concave community agree that we don't live on a heliocentric ball, and the heliocentric ball is the accepted standard. So therefore, universally, there's not going to be anybody there saying, well, I think, and then spurting a load of mainstream rhetoric. That isn't going to be happening. So yes, there's going to be lots of speculation and hopefully presentation of evidence, but ultimately speaking, it will be a cordial debate. It's not going to. I don't think you're going to have people throwing eggs at each other and getting angry about their flat Earth model. I just don't see it. I don't know about you.
Oh, sorry about this. Can you jump? It's a thoroughfare. Yeah, so right, but I am actually going to bring eggs, because I just feel that if any eggs need to be thrown, then obviously they're going to be. I don't want them left hand. I will be supplying some cooked, some raw.
I see. So if there's any eggs pelted, they'll be coming from you, will they, Gary?
What Excellent. I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got like if you excuse the pun, I'm going to have a shell suit covered up and with the goggles, so I'm going to be totally safe. So everyone else can actually get covered.
We haven't actually mentioned the address yet. We should really.
Yes, on the website, but it's Jury's In, and it's I actually did do the postcode, so people can look it up if I can remember where I put it. I know it's B1. Oh, yeah, it's B1 2HQ, and it's actually in the heart of Birmingham.
So Jury's In Birmingham.
I can't remember
B1.
the number.
Do you want to just read it all off in
If I remember
full?
rightly, I think it's Broad Street, isn't it? If I remember rightly. I haven't looked lately, but I think it's Broad Street.
Birmingham.
But it's
Jury's
central
In.
London. Birmingham even.
So Jury's In, Broad Street, Birmingham, B1. What was the rest of it?
2HQ.
Birmingham B1 2HQ. And what was the
Hotel
date? Can you
Quebec.
rattle off the dates as well, just so we'll do it again. We'll plug it a few more times.
I remember the last time when I did it a few times. It's the 27th, 28th, and 29th of April 2018.
Okay, now I've got a couple of subjects. You can choose which one you want to tackle first. So before we started the main stream, you explained that you'd had some detractors. That's part one. And well, let's just. I've already opened up that floodgate, so let's just go straight into that. Why not?
Yeah, it kind of happened beforehand when you and I spoke last time, but it's happened again where over a 2 or 3 day period, I was absolutely, well, they tried to rip me apart on the internet just to say that I'm obviously out to scam people. You know, there's two things. It seems to be centered on Mark Sargent is a shill. So how dare I actually have an event where Mark Sargent's coming? That's point one. And the other one is I'm clearly out to make money. So, and just, it's not a secret. I actually, I've got my own business and it's actually looking after firefighting equipment. So I'm even plugging my own business here. And all it is, I'll go to customer sites to actually make sure their fire systems are working, because where a fire brigade wouldn't be able to get there quick enough, I put in systems that actually will do it automatically. So no big secret. I have my own business and it's only small, but you know, it ties me over. And the other thing, it seems to be that a lot of people seem to be concerned about my name. And my actual full name is Gary John Heather. I've never used my surname on social media, just haven't in 7 years. And people also seem to be worried about the fact that I've only had my profile on Gary John since May. And the reason for that is when I first set up Facebook, I never wanted to use my surname because I thought the way I look at it is if I wanted to contact people, I would contact them because I want to, not because I want them to contact me. So I always use my middle name. And then when it eventually came to the point I got into Flat Earth, I just carried on with that. I wanted to actually do a convention. I needed another Facebook account that was just unique for Flat Earth. And it happened to be in May because I listened to what Jaron said about he wasn't going to the convention. I'll put one on, and possibly with some people in Europe, possibly not. But people seem to be getting hung up on the fact that the profile didn't start until May. Mark Sargent's a shill. How dare I invite him? And 3, I must be making money. What do I do for a living? Maybe I live off what I can make from people. Yeah, I was attacked. But unfortunately, or fortunately, the person attacking me is a little wimp. That she asked to meet him face to face. I've also asked him what he did for a living and details about him, and he didn't seem to want to say that. So he's very quick to ask, but he doesn't like to answer. Yeah, so these people are out there, but I'm sure Robbie's in the same place and part of the course.
So have you, or do you want to address any of those things? So maybe start with Mark Sargent. How dare you invite a shill to your conference, or to your convention, sorry?
Very good point. Everything I've ever come across, and also Patricia's coming as well, but she's going to buy her own ticket. So she's not been invited, but she's more than welcome. We would love to have her with us. I've got to be honest, I can only go by what I found. Everything I've ever had with Mark and everything I've ever had with Patricia and all the speakers, to be fair, very professional and upfront, and they've all been saying the right things and doing the right things. I've had some unusual conversations with some people that are not on the list, but that's something I'm not going to go into. But everything I've ever come across, and he's always sending me links to things. He sent me a how to a survival email, which I thought was very useful. He puts people towards us that want to know more about the Flat Earth Convention. Everything I've come across from Mark, and the same for Patricia, to be fair. So when you get people saying, oh, they're a shill, great, but where's the evidence? I haven't seen it. Now, that doesn't mean they're not shills. I don't know. But it just annoys me that they just say the words, but they don't back it up. So I tell you what, you come to the convention, I will pay for your ticket for a day, and I will make sure that I ask Mark if they will spend time with you, and you can take to him face to face, you're a shill. Guess what? Nothing. Why is that, I wonder? Because some people talk the talk, and a lot of these are talkers.
Fair enough. Good answer. So what about you and what you do, and how does that relate back to being the organizer of a conference? Your living in general, I mean.
Oh, you mean what do I do for business? Is that what you mean?
You don't have to answer that. I mean, it's just one of those, you've been asked and you've aired it here, so there may be other people. I normally think of it in terms of Nielsen ratings. So, you know, if you've got a Nielsen box, you're representative of about 10,000 people. So if you've been asked one question, or if you get one complaint, the list goes on and on. You know, there's a good chance that there's other people who are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. I don't mind. I haven't quite got a website for this company. You know, I just never got around to it. But I've actually paid for it now. You know, to have it. But my company name's Total Fire UK Limited. Been going since 2009, since 2001. But we merged and demerged a few times. So I only employ one other person. We're very small, but I do a select. So I do a certain type of work that is not the usual within the fire industry. Nothing special, but again, this person he was asking wasn't asking as such. It was almost like accusing that I clearly am probably not employed. I must be making my money from doing things like this, which I must admit, if that was the case, I would go broke, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be able to eat. Bearing in mind, Nathan, just as you probably already know, I've already put in, including going to Holland for some meetings, I've already put in £1,300 of my own money. So I just wonder, these people that are actually pointing the fingers, what have they put into Flat Earth financially?
It's a tricky one, because I know why you want to justify what you've put into it, but as far as I'm concerned, making a profit from doing anything that involves time and effort is perfectly acceptable. You know, it seems unreasonable to demand time and effort and not get paid for it, in my view. But I mean, I don't know how you see it, maybe differently to me.
Yeah, I can see your point, but I think from my point of view, yes, my time isn't free, of course, but the way I look at it is if I manage to get, say, for instance, the hotel paid for that weekend as almost like a return, then I'd be very pleased with that. You know, that's what I would, you know, that means in that it clearly has made enough money to do that. But the way I look at it is, funny, if it makes enough money, I mean, at this moment, I haven't to even to provide the tickets. That's how close the margins are. So these people that think it's going to be making a huge profit, well, I can't see it, so you have to show me where this is. If, to be fair, if most people actually end up losing their early bird option and they end up buying a standard ticket, then yeah, that will probably move closer into, it will make more money than it would cost to put on the event. But that just means that I do one of two things. I either make the event slightly better, I could improve on if I had the money, or it will go into future events like I was saying to you before we started this about the European Convention that I want to put on. But the thing is, and I spoke to Robbie about this, about the putting on a webinar, the cost for webinar is huge. And I've worked out that the cost to me is 3,800, which is including the VAT, bring up to 100 people. And as you put on more people, that cost goes up. But the break-even point for that is about 200 people. Now, if I end up having 80 people pay £20 each, I should have actually, in theory, charged them £40 each. So I'm already on a hiding to nothing for £2,000. If I make a little bit on the convention side, that will just offset the webinar. But there's more chance it's going to lose money. And if it loses money, it comes out of my pocket. So when these people are throwing eggs at me, they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. But then that's no change there, because they're pretty good at talking rubbish.
What's the webinar section then?
It's literally an opportunity for streaming for the Saturday and Sunday. I haven't decided Friday as well, because again, it puts up the cost. But it's so people around the world who either can't make the convention because of distance, the location, or maybe they can't, whatever, they will be able to download live, and one in the world can access it if they wish.
Presume that's pay-per-view.
But for that, I need to have a professional company. Sorry?
I was just going to say that's pay-per-view, so as opposed to what you and I are doing now, which is just streaming for free on YouTube, you actually buy a ticket and then you get access via the web site, presumably.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got to talk to them about how we do the link that people get, like a unique link that is only for them. I don't know how that works. So that's where they come in. But I need to have a technician there for the audio and video. I need another technician there to do the webinar. And the cost of the hire of the equipment and all their setup time, server space, and the whole setup. Because if it's, I was talking to Robbie about this, and he was right in saying that if you do this and you do not do it in a professional way, it will really undermine everything. And I can't afford to do that. I just can't risk trying to wing it.
Thanks for that, Robbie. No pressure added. No pressure added at all.
Yeah, no. So it's been useful actually talking to Robbie, though, because he's obviously facing it front on. He's coming, face on. He's literally a month away from it going live. We have a lot learned from that, I think. So that's going to be interesting to see.
It's handy to have it's just a test bed for the UK one, really, isn't it? The American one.
Yeah, it's a trial run, isn't it? It's a trial run in North Carolina for the real one that's actually in the UK next year.
Correct. The main event will be, of course, in the UK, and they'll warm up the audience and all the rest of it, and hopefully. But there's a good chance you will. People may get more hungry for the event based on what they see on the American webinar. That's a new word on me, I've got to be honest. But yeah, good word. It makes sense. It's pretty obvious what it means. But yeah, still pleased that you detailed what exactly you'll be getting. So it's just nice, because for some people, the travel for a start, if you're not in the UK, the chances are that it's going to be dearer to actually attend the conference or the convention. I'm going to have to stop saying conference, attend the convention. But if you can just stream it.
I'm easy with both, but convention is what it is.
Yeah, streaming it is just a doddle, and if it's a few quid, obviously well worth it because you can't attend. So marvellous, I love it. Can you tell the audience what it's actually taken? You've mentioned a bit about chatting to Robbie Davidson of Celebrate Truth, who's organising the American convention. But what has it actually taken to get to the point where you can say yes, you can buy a ticket, yes, you'll be able to stream it? What's it taken?
Are you talking about the webinar now?
In general, to go from our last conversation to this conversation, what have you had to put in physically? I wanted to try and make the audience aware that it's not just a few phone calls to people like Robbie and then a couple of Skype messages, and I want people to be acutely aware of how much work it actually is.
No. Well, it's probably been something like 100 phone calls to the hotel and probably about 50 emails to try and fine-tune exactly what package, because the option I've gone for, and it may be that I wouldn't do this in the future, and I would like to talk to you a little bit later about what I'm thinking that we're going to maybe do in Europe, is package. And the delegate package is a minimum of 200 people at £29 per person per day. So I can't remember the exact maths, but I think it's something like 16,000 turnover goes on that alone, the hotel rooms. So 2/3 of the ticket price is going to the hotel. And to answer your question about what's been involved, I mean, I've had a number of meetings with the web people and also in emails, and honestly, the list is endless. The hotel has been a big one. That's why when people come to me and say, oh, why don't you just go and get another hotel? And like I said to you on the last chat that we had, that it's easier said than done, because you go to them, okay, now I know a date that I want, and I now know an idea of numbers. You start negotiating with these people. And of course, they want to know, some people want upfront deposits. For instance, in Europe, venue, they want 80% upfront. Now, if you've got a bigger venue, 80% of a lot more money is a lot more money. So it's like, who funds that? You know, where does that money come from? So to be fair, I would actually say that I've since I think I saw you last, I went up to Birmingham to have a meeting with them, and I actually found that the hotel room isn't ideal because it's got pillars in the way, which I would have to try and work out how I was going to get around that. I've got 4 projector screens. So what will happen is the webinar will film, you know, the webinars will film the actual the main stage, and it would then be put out to all the projector screens. So if you had somebody that was in not an ideal location, then they will be able to either see it physically live, or they'll be able to see the screen. And the speakers move up and down, then obviously there's sometimes be in zone. Hence why I've actually gone for a front row, because people in front row would have a fantastic view all the time, and other people it will be first come, first serves. So yeah, I think to answer your question fully, the amount of work behind the scenes is immense, and it's taken up a hell of a lot of my time. Got to sign a contract. I'm signing a contract with the hotel that I've got to commit to certain numbers and certain things to happen. And like the web team, okay, to be fair, they did say they'd work with me if we have a problem with the amount of numbers that go for it. But they have like their set charges that they're looking at, and it's just literally just shy of £4,000. And if we end up with more people, say you're around the world, you have say 1,000 people sign up for it, the costs go up, but it goes up at a lower rate pro rata. So then all of a sudden that then gives a balance that could actually help to put on a better event.
Very cool. Yeah, lots and lots of hard work. A couple of things before we round out the main show, because I want to keep that relatively short, just so it's got, you know, the condensed information on. But before we go through what people can expect to attend, can you tell the audience what's in it for you? So obviously there's been a fair bit of, I don't want to call it negativity, but just hard work and graft and expense. And for anybody who's listening, they might think, well, what's your motivation? What do you get out of this then?
Well, it's the reason for doing all this is because I wanted to see the speakers and whoever the speakers were, because I didn't actually start off with Mark Sargent and John the Morgar as an example. They came about because of Through Sun and Moon. I was actually on a hangout with Mark, and I was asking him, like I think you remember, I asked him if there's any chance that he could maybe do a little video for us, and he said that he would even consider coming over. I think it's because to see these speakers on YouTube is one thing, live and see a bit more about them and learn, you know, about what they believe in, how they come across. So I think it's more to do with earthers, either speakers or non-speakers, because I want to learn more and I want to be involved with these people, because you would eventually gravitate towards the people that are really like making good, you know, big difference in a good way, and you'll move away from the people that maybe are not so. You know, so it's literally to give me access to these people, and because there was no one else putting on a convention, I thought, okay, I will put on a convention. So it was nothing to do with making money or there's an angle here, or I was trying to promote my name, because I'm not interested in that. That's not to do with, I want to meet these people. Like, for instance, since then I've met you twice. I've met Martin twice. I've met different people. I've spoken to Patricia on a couple of hangouts. I've got a meeting hangout with her next Wednesday with Mark Sargent. All these things have come about because of doing this convention. So it's allowing me to have access to things I wouldn't have had before. So my motivation really is to engage with these in a positive way.
Last of all, before we go through one last time the dates, the time, the place, and all the rest of that, can you just tell again to somebody who's watching this is thinking, okay, what can I expect? What would a member of the audience expect? Say on you've detailed quite a lot about what would happen on the Sunday with the idea of having a debate. But if you can maybe pick the Saturday, what would somebody, as they approach juries in, what would they expect to have happen to them as they get there? Talk me through their day.
Well, there's a couple of things. When they turn up and they obviously register, if they haven't turned up on the Friday, then they obviously will be able to mingle with other flat earthers, including the speakers. And one of the things I want to have is like a photo board. Bear with me 2 seconds. It will be a big shot of that on a board, and then people can then have their photograph taken with either their friends or with other flat earth strangers or with the speakers or whoever. It can be Wales or Oyster. And they can obviously do that to their heart's content. So it's the initial people meeting up, and there'll be networking and having a chat. Because the official launch is really the Saturday morning, because I don't quite know what the Friday's going to bring. I don't know if it's going to be how many people turn up. I don't know how it's going to be received. So webinar, I'm aiming for the Saturday morning. Everything is really Saturday morning. And each have an element of time to actually do a presentation or discussion about things that they're working on lately. And then it's open up to the audiences. So that's where the event will be as good as people make it. If, say, for instance, you had Mark Sargent speaking for 20 minutes, as an example, and not one person asks a question, then they can't then walk away disappointed that not were part of that, not asking a question. So it's down to the people to decide what they want out of this. And then obviously when we have our lunch, there'd be food that's included within the ticket. And obviously tea and coffee in the first thing, there'd be tea and coffee, and there'd be tea and coffee mid-afternoon on the Saturday. And as soon as it finishes at 6 o'clock or whenever it finishes that evening, then people again will be able to engage. And the other thing that I don't know, I can't remember if we had this discussion last time, but I'm trying to do an evening where people can, like Martin said, he was going to do a little bit of comedy, and Darren Nesbitt's going to play his guitar and sing, and other people, anyone in the Flat Earth who's coming, contribute to put on a fun evening. So that's the Saturday.
I can picture it now, because if I'm starting to build a mental picture of how it'll be, because I can picture sipping a cup of tea or whatever and having a conversation with somebody random next to me whilst there's something going on the webinar, which is obviously going out to the public as well, but I can see it on one of the projection screens while I'm having a chit chat and with maybe somebody that I've chatted to already or whatever on stage. So I can picture the sort of networking opportunities that people who seldom get an opportunity to join in with the hangouts maybe they can actually. I don't think you're going to get people quizzing Mark about actually being a shill, but I'm sure they'll have plenty of flat earth questions for him or whoever else is in attendance, all of the speakers that are going to be there. And as you say,
so, Nathan. Yeah, I think what it is, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to turn up that have never actually met another flat earther. And that is quite special, because I remember the very first time I went to a meet with Laura Brooker, and I was with another 20 odd people, and I was just blown away. We was only having lunch at the time before we went off to do the experiments down in Worthing, and I was just blown away to be around other flat earthers. So it's going to be as much as, like I said, it's going to be as much as people put in, because they're going to turn up and they're going to obviously network and they're just going to chat, and then they're going to meet the speakers, and then the actual presentations. And again, I do not want, and that's one of the things that I was very keen on, and other people have said this as well, is I just don't want a speaker to talk for their slot, because that's no different to just watching them on YouTube. There's no point. It's the interaction I think is important. So to actually have people asking questions, and I can't say the question I'm going to ask, but I am actually asking Mark a particular question that I need to talk to him first. Like, are you happy for me to do it? But there's a particular question that is that people that get on my nerves.
Oh, go on.
And it gives us the opportunity to do this. Well, okay. it's going to ruin it. But I was going to say to him in front of everyone, "Are you a shill?" and see what he says. Because all I want to do is, because I don't believe it, but I want to shut people up.
Yeah, I think the answer will just be no. I don't think it'll be any shocking answers, but yeah. Okay, before we round out the Google show, then can you give us the address and the time and date of the Flat Earth UK conference?
It's 7 o'clock on the 27th of April, which is a Friday, and that will go on to about 10:30. The Saturday morning starts at 10:30, goes on to about 6, and the Sunday starts at 10, goes on to about 3, with obviously a little bit of time before and afterwards to mingle and mix with fellow flat earthers.
And what's the address?
Broad Street, Birmingham, B1, oh dear, 2
HQ.
Hotel Quebec.
Brilliant stuff. And that's the jury's
and obviously if you book, yeah, that's it. And if you book your hotel, then obviously you obviously can get a better price if you book it early, because obviously the more the rooms get booked up, the more the prices will go up, I'm sure.
And last but not least, can you rattle off the name of the website, and then we'll round out and thank our audience, etc.
Sure. It's www.flatearthconventionuk.co.uk.
Superb. Right. With that, I will say a massive, massive thank you to Gary John for being here on Flat Earth United. I will add at this point that we will continue to stream on the behind the scenes broadcast with OBS. So first of all, to you, Gary, thank you very much for being here. Oh, have we lost Gary? Timing is everything. Have we still got you, Gary?
Can you hear me?
Yep. Massive thank you for being here.
I'm here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, still here.
Thank you very much for your time, Nathan. I've enjoyed it.
It's a pleasure. Will you hang around for a few minutes just after we finish, just for a quick chat and round out on the OBS stream?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll say a thank you to the main audience on Google+. So thank you very much to all of you who have joined us in the live chat. Be sure to check out the website for the UK conference. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with videos from Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video. So that bit's finished. We're still on OBS though, if that makes sense.
Okay. Don't know what OBS is, but I take your word for it.
So what we've got is to do a show and still be able to have people tick the box like you did when you joined the show, to say essentially you give up all rights to me and I own the material, all that kind of stuff. When that goes out, it is only on Google. Whereas if you do it on OBS, which is like a live platform, but you can't actually invite guests to it. So to do it, you have to run 2 streams simultaneously, if that makes sense, which is a pain in the arse.
Okay.
So I thought, well, while I was doing it, I thought, well, why not just actually start the second stream? It makes no odds. It just means you've then got 2 videos which might get shared in different places. You just don't know.
Sure.
And the other reason is because what I was finding was you'd have a really cracking conversation with somebody about the subject at hand, and then afterwards you'd press stop on the broadcast, and you kind of like I'm doing now, you just kind of sit back a bit because you're a bit more relaxed once the show's not technically going out live, and you'd end up having a really good flat earth conversation, but nobody would get to hear it, and it would really frustrate me. And I don't know, it's just a psychological trick that seems to work. It seems to be the case that if you finish the Google part of the show, you I don't know, most of the guests so far, I've only done about half a dozen of them this way, tend to be a bit more relaxed after the Google Plus bit finishes, because it says off air in the top corner.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, but it's still going out. It's quite funny.
But we are still going out live, so it means that if we did have some, well, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? If someone forgets completely, then they might accidentally say something they shouldn't. You know, not that there's anything particularly anybody I know would say that they shouldn't say, but you know, they might just swear or, I don't know, behave slightly inappropriately if they let their guard down, which they might not do otherwise. But other than that, my only purpose in doing it this way is to have some of the like behind the scenes sounds, you know, those conversations that you might not ordinarily get if you just have the show. But who knows? Maybe with yourself, it'll just be like, oh, I've got all my plugs in that I needed.
Well, the only thing we're reading convention that I'm looking at as well, I went over there and met up with Didi Van H. She's Belgium. And we went to 5 or 6 venues in Amsterdam to look at a venue potentially if we're going to do something in Europe. And we've actually found somewhere that we think may be ideal. That's between 750 to 800 people. And it's a really unusual place. And it'd be good fun. It's just knowing if there's enough interest in Europe.
That's a lot of people, isn't it?
The reason why I'm doing that, though, Nathan, is the way I look at it is America's doing about 600. We're doing 275 because of, you know, the restrictions of the hotel. But this time next year, you've got another year's worth of growth. You've also got the impetus from the American convention. I think there's a conference, isn't it? There's obviously our convention. So it's literally trying to think big. If you build it, they will come, that type of syndrome.
I hope the debate bit expands, because given enough time, I don't know if it would ever branch into having globe heads there, but you just don't know.
I'm more than welcome. You know, people have said to me, it's actually quite interesting. They've said to me, "Oh, are you inviting people from the church?" I think I'm not actually inviting anyone apart from speakers. And talking to people about it. Oh, well, I'm putting on this, do you want to come? I'm not inviting a single soul because it's up to them to book a ticket. But they seem to be asking a question. Oh, have you invited these people? Why not?
There's a good chance, knowing what people now know,
People seem to...
they'll say, well, I can go, I completely disagree with Flat Earth, and I want to listen to Mark Sargent, put my hand up and go, what about the South Celestial Pole? Or what about blah, blah, blah. You know, there might be somebody out there that wants to challenge them based on their heliocentric belief.
Yeah. The thing is, on this debate, it's not just, if you find that 8 people in that room that are glowheads, then they have the opportunity to either get involved in the debate on the Saturday or get involved in the debate, the question and answers on the Saturday, or the debate on the Sunday. It can't, I think I may have to try and keep a reasonably tight lid on everyone gets a slot and everyone gets their turn, and hopefully it doesn't become a nightmare. But in reality, if it does become a nightmare, that's actually could be a very interesting, it's almost like you let it run, and other times you need to know when it's a clue, and it's not the aftermath that you'll look back and think, oh, I should have jumped in quicker there, or I should have let that go. I don't know. It's a movable feast. It's an idea that hasn't been put forward together, because I don't think they're doing this in America. That it's different, and I'm not. You know, I don't want it to be an America Part 2, but there's going to be similar debate thing. It's actually quite an exciting thing for some people. I think you and I both agree that the debate could be quite powerful.
Absolutely. I mean, as soon as you said it, it was the first I'd heard of it, obviously. You could probably tell from my reaction that I'm dead keen. I think initially, though, having, let's say someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm not saying Neil deGrasse Tyson would attend, but having a debate between a globe head and a flat earther, sorry about the derogatory terms, isn't necessarily wise on the first one. You know, you don't want to have to literally be concerned about people pelting someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson with eggs. And I think it is quite charged at the moment. You know, people are very, very passionate about this subject. And at least in the initial stages, debating alternative models is a bit more of a safe option than debating the mainstream model against anything flat Earth.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing I am prepared to do, though, Nathan, is I will take on anything or anyone, literally anyone in the world. The president, Pope, the grass, you know, Bill Nye. I don't care. there's nobody off limits as far as I'm concerned. And the way I look at it is, even though it's ridiculous, some of these in, but I'm not saying it's ever going to happen. But all I'm saying to you is that I'd be more than happy to do it. Support any, as long as it makes sense and it's done with integrity and it's done honestly, then I will support anything to do with moving Flirt forward.
I'm also glad to hear that you'll be, doing at least some speaking, because from memory at least, and again, this was a conversation that I said earlier that Martin and I were having about you specifically converting people on the street, flat smacking. So you're very well versed in flat earth. There's no two ways about that. You know your stuff as much as the next man, if not more.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I had a conversation with a few people there that they were like trying to trip me up, I think. But I'd like to think I can hold my own, but there's other people that are more well versed than me. The only reason why I'm actually decided to speak, because I came across something, and ironically, and I will have this conversation with you at a later date, but you and I had one snippet of conversation on the last hangout. And off the back of that, there's something there that I need to explore, and that is what's happened. So off the back of you and I talking about it, you and I had one conversation, very small conversation within that hour, that has given me a thought that I wanted to explore. So I ran it by one of the main speakers, brilliant idea, and I thought it was already a good idea, and they supported it, and doing this thing that I'm going to present. So because of that, I felt that I had something to say, whereas up to then I was only ever going to be the host and just bring it together. Now going to actually have a slot because I feel I've got something to say. I wouldn't do it just for the sake of it. It has to be because I've got something I hope can add value.
It's also nice that you'll be talking even if you didn't have a slot, because you are the host. So it's good to glad hand people and welcome them and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But it's better that you're on stage actually talking, and you may well have done that anyway when you introduced, sort of compare style. I don't know how it will run in that respect, but presumably you'll have somebody introducing each speaker as they go up.
Introducing what, sorry?
Each of the speakers. So I don't know if it'll be you, but presumably you'll have some sort of compare or whatever that will actually introduce each person.
Well, based on the amount of money that's going spare, I'm doing that role.
That's what I mean. That's what I thought. So, it's going to be you doing that.
Unless somebody else steps forward, that would obviously be a shoe-in. It doesn't have to be me. But if it happens to be somebody that would be brilliant at it, then it would be me. I could actually start the event and I could end it at the end. We have somebody that would be a shoe-in, then I'm more than happy for that. At this moment, no, I'm not looking for somebody, but if it happens, then I would definitely be up for it. This isn't about me. This is me just literally wanting to see the speakers that much that I'm willing to put on an event.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to round out before we end the OBS behind the scenes stream?
The only thing I mean is to actually maybe come back another day closer to the event, obviously, and also when I know a bit more about Europe, I would love to obviously do this again. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm all for doing more plugs for the convention. Let's get it right up at least once. So yeah, I want to plug the convention as much as humanly possible. So the only way people get to hear about this stuff is to continually remind them. People are very fickle. They will forget in a hurry if you don't constantly prod them and just remind them. You do remember we're having a convention. It's going to be happening. It is imminent, because it'll creep up. And unless you've constantly told people, they won't buy a ticket. So you've got to keep telling them how fantastic it's going to be. Keep reminding them of what it's all about, when it is, where it is. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm all for doing another one of these. Probably several more. Just to keep people, keep your hand in, keep my hand in, keep people aware of what's going on. So I'm definitely up for that.
Yeah, it's good to do it. And on Sunday, I'm with Karen, and on Wednesday, like I said earlier, I'm with Patricia and Mark. Really, it's good. And to have you three and anything else that comes along, and I'm going to be working a little bit, and that's going to be really good. and we've got a few things we're working on. Support each other, and that's going to be all good. And see where we go. And then what I'm also hoping, though, Nathan, I'll just end on this, is that at this moment, a lot of people haven't stepped forward. I have got people that step forward, but the amount will just go up, especially after the event, because all of a sudden, any subsequent event, there'll be certain people that can say, I've got a venue, or I can do the webinar, or I can provide whatever. I haven't got those people yet, but I will get them. Because I just think it's just a natural, sorry, Adam. It's a natural progression, I think, that people will
Yeah, I know what you're driving at. You at the moment, it's all off your back. It's all stuff that you're putting in. It's the effort of you contacting them and making the inquiries. Whereas once it actually has the ball literally rolling, you'll get more people contacting you, proactively offering their services and assistance for various different things that need doing. But yeah, that's just, it is. Yeah. I can kind of feel your frustration because it's all on you, basically.
I guess it is, but I think it's more to do with the fact that I have got people stepping forward. Like, for instance, you've helped Patricia, and I've got Dorja Darko's helping, and Ken EVR is helping with different bits and pieces. People are doing their thing, like the speakers are doing their thing. I think it's just the frustration, really, that like I said to you before in the last hangout, I don't mind being attacked for something I've done wrong. If I, for instance, make tea in a certain way and it's wrong, and everyone is attacking what I've done, what I don't like is I've been accused of something I haven't done, and they just will not shake. They just will not get. But as Robbie was saying, it's a good point. Is that what will happen is if we put on a second event, it's a lot. And two, all of a sudden your credibility is going to go up. If you don't put on a second event for whatever reason, then it's academic. But if you do put on a second event, it's because it clearly has been received well, and it was worth to go and do a second one. A lot of people that are querying is it real the first time around, I doubt if they would do that, because they can look back and see the evidence, can't they? And I want to be an open book as well. I've got no secrets. If people, I just want to say this to you. Somebody actually wanted to bring a solicitor down to actually check my books. I personally would have thought an accountant, but okay, I'll give you my address. Come whenever you like. They were so adamant that I was out to make a profit, and they can't believe that I'm not. And I'm not going to mention them by name, but I said to them, feel free, bring your solicitor. I can't quite see where a solicitor comes into it, but the other thing is, the other person I was telling you about that was really knocking me, he said that he was going to do me for fraud. And I said, I'll be more than happy to see you in court. Fraud. So is it a financial thing, or is it Mark Sargent's a shield? I don't know. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Yeah, and if these people think that I'm going to break, they've got another thing coming.
Something that I'm considering doing is the next group show. So I've got a couple of guests. I'll do my own plugs now. So hoping to have Carl McDonald on in the not too distant future, along with a few other people who I think he'll probably be the next one that comes up. Hopefully with a bit of luck. I'll keep chasing him. But it's one where I'm hoping to have a group show to specifically discuss credibility and what that means, and what effect that has on us as a whole, flat earthers in general, because there is a lot of, not misunderstandings, I just don't think people are in the slightest bit aware of how bad it is when you just either take something as read that somebody says and just repeat it, or draw completely illogical conclusions about people, or like with you, where they just want to challenge you on complete nonsense and get you to provide proof. And even if you do, they'll say, I don't believe you anyway. It doesn't matter what you say, in other words. But this is very damaging for people's reputations, and it's something that I definitely want to discuss on a future show. Credibility. I can't remember. There was a specific. I can't remember if it was even flat Earth related. I think it might not have been. It might have been related to the Vegas stuff that's obviously on at the moment. But going on about specifically about people's credibility, it'll come to me for when we do that show. I will have a better reference when it comes to actually doing that. But yeah, I think it's important that people understand what credibility is. And you know, you're right. You're building your own credibility from scratch in this respect. Not you personally, but in respect to something new, which is the convention. So it's tough. It's going to be hard to build up that credibility, but you know, you're on the right path, and you know it will be a success. There is no two ways about that.
I hope so. And thanks so much for your support.
Good stuff. Right, so Gary, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you very much again. It's been a real pleasure. Stuff. And with that, I'm going to say one last thank you also to all of the people who have joined us in the chat room on the behind the scenes OBS feed. Once again, if you're new to the channel, or not even new, if you've seen loads of material but just haven't bothered clicking that subscribe button, make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with videos from Nathan Oakley. I will see you all in the next video.